So I've already prepped the skin with a moisturizer and the NARS primer. Now I'm just going in with the NARS Radiant Longwear Foundation. This is in the shade Santa Fe mixed with Yukon. Now I'm just tapping that foundation into the skin using a foundation brush, placing more product towards the inside of the face and less on the outwards of the face. And I'm going to go in with a blender after this, just a beauty blender, just to get rid of any harsh lines, and make sure your beauty blender is damp, because if it is dry it is going to soak up all the product and it can come out patchy. So using a very slightly damp beauty blender, I'm just tapping that all around the face to get a nice even smooth blend. Also, I'm not using heaps of foundation because, as you can see, she has got fine lines and smile lines, so I don't want lots of foundation in those areas because it is just going to make them stand out and sink into the lines and it's not going to look good. So just going light around those areas where she has fine lines. About to see in the next clip that her contour is on. I forgot to record it, I'm so sorry. I used the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand and used a blender to blend it out, but yes, I forgot to record it. Now just getting my client to look up, I'm going to grab this concealer brush with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This is an amazing creamy formula. I just love this concealer. It is great if they have fine lines because it is creamy and it doesn't dry fast. So it doesn't seep into fine lines. I'm just placing that under her eyes to give a nice bright under eye, get rid of any darkness and just highlight a little bit. Now I'm just tapping this in. As you can see, I'm not swiping. I don't want to move the product. This is purely just for placement because we're going to use a beauty blender to blend it out. Now I'm just putting a little bit on the chin, tip of the nose, bridge of the nose and forehead. This is just doing some highlighting and then going in with that beauty blender we were using before that's already slightly damp. I'm just gonna go ahead and blend out everything nicely and evenly, making sure I'm not pressing too hard with the blender so we're not moving any product underneath, just light tapping motions. Now it's hard getting in those inner corners with the blender, so I'm just going in with that concealer brush from earlier to get in those spaces. And now just using the Patrick Tar blush palette, I'm just going to use that cream blush that's on top, just on the higher ends of her cheekbones, blending upwards, not downwards, kind of blending it into that concealer to give a nice blended effect. We don't want it to look separate from the contour underneath. Now I'm just adding the slightest amount of product just to match the contour to the concealer right in between. It's just going to add a nice flush of colour to the face, but also just make sure that everything is blended in nicely together. So we're going to do a little bit on the forehead and on the chin. Now using the P. Louise eyeshadow base, I'm just going to pop that on the eyes, being careful because she does have eyelash extensions, so trying not to get any on those. I'm just going to place an even amount all over the eye. Now just doing a little bit of cleaning up underneath the brow with this as well. This is just going to give a nice clean look for after we put the eyebrow product on. It's going to make it look more snatched and sharp. Now using the same beauty blender from before, we're just going to go over that lightly just to make sure there's no harsh lines from the brush. Now using the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand that we used to contour her face, I'm just going to use that as an eye base. This just goes nicely underneath the eyeshadow because we're just doing a simple brown eyeshadow, so it gives a nice base for it to stick onto and just adds a little bit more pigment. Now I'm just blending it out like I would eyeshadow and just smoking it out towards the end of the brows just to give a lifted look. Using the Huda Beauty loose powder in the shade Pound Cake, I'm just going to use a big fluffy brush to set all over her face. I'm not using a lot of product around the smile lines because again, we don't want the product seeping into those lines and making them more noticeable. So going really light around those areas where she has fine lines, just dusting it over just to set lightly. Now using my Makeup by Mario Master Palette, I'm just going in with this shade here. Using a flat brush, I'm just going to place that all over the eyelid. Now just adding the slightest amount of product and tapping off the excess with this fluffy brush, I'm just going to go in and start blending that out using circular motions and blending towards the end and up towards the end of the brow. This again is just going to give that nice lifted effect. Now this is a really good hack for a smooth blend. Just using the Hourglass bronzer, I'm just going to connect that eyeshadow to the top of the bridge of the nose so that later when we do our bronzer, it's going to connect really nicely and give a seamless blend. I'm also placing a bit on the ends of the eyes where we smoked that out just to connect again to the bronzer. And then I'm using this golden shade in the Dior Glow Face palette. I'm just popping the slightest amount on the eyes just to give a nice glowy effect. Now using the Hourglass bronzer from before, we're just going to go ahead and bronze the face up. So just on the cheekbones, the outwards area of the forehead, and down the chin and neck. Now using a small angled fluffy brush, I'm just going to go and place 2 lines down the sides of the bridge of the nose. We're just going to do some nose contouring. And if you want to really snatch the nose, just do a little like circle on the end of the nose. This just gives a little button nose effect. It's really cute. And then I'm just using the same bronzer brush from before just to blend that all out. You'll notice that a lot of the time I'm using tapping motions and not dragging the brush. This is just so that we don't move any product underneath. And then I'm grabbing the same powder from before and just tapping excess onto the palm of my hand because we don't want to use a lot of product, again because of the fine lines. So we're not really baking, we're more snatching the sides of the nose and pressing it right into the skin. Now I'm not letting that set too long, maybe like a minute. After that, I'm just going to swipe it all off with a big fluffy brush. Now using the blush out of the Dior palette, I'm just going to go ahead and add blush. This is a beautiful blush, especially if your clients ask for that more youthful appearance, because it gives a beautiful within glow. Now just applying a little bit on the tip of the nose and in the areas we applied the cream blush. Just using that eyeshadow we were using before, I'm going to apply that underneath her lash line. This is just going to smoke it out and connect it to the eyeshadow that's on top. Now we're not doing anything crazy with her eyebrows, we're just going to be filling them in. So I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills eyebrow pencil and I'm just going to go ahead and start filling them in, starting with the bottom of the brows and then ending with the top of the brows. I don't apply any product on the inside of the brow because we're going to use the brush that's on the end just to brush the product that's in the brow into the front of the brow. This is just going to give that nice ombre effect. Now using that white highlight shade out of the Dior palette, I'm just going to use this on the brow bone. This is just going to snatch the brows even more, but it's also going to give a nice highlighted brow bone. I also place this on the tip of the nose and bridge of the nose. Now just using a highlight brush, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight where the light hits the face, so on the chin, the nose, forehead, and then on the higher points of the cheekbones. Now to make sure that beautiful base doesn't go anywhere, we're going to set that down with the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, and then I'm going to go ahead with this lip liner by Makeup Forever in the shade Endless Cacao and start lining her lips. Now here you'll notice I'm just extending that lip liner a little bit inwards just to kind of blend it into the lip to give a nice ombre effect for when we apply that lipstick. Then grabbing the Colourpop lipstick in the shade Oh Snap and just applying that to the lips. And then lastly, I'm just grabbing this lip gloss. It's the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee and applying that. And this is the end of the video. If you guys liked this video, please subscribe and like, and let me know what kind of content you want to see in the future down in the comments. Thank you guys, and see you for my next one.